Hello, Lindsay. How are you
I'm
today?
feeling great today. I am super excited for this topic because this is where work blends with life, right? What we're talking about today.
Yes,
I'm so ready.
absolutely. Me too. And I'm so excited for you to hear the voices of the All Ears
Yes.
English team,
Yes.
meet some of our wonderful coworkers. And yeah,
Yeah.
this is going to be
It's
fun.
a special episode today, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
And this is so important to be able to introduce yourself either at work in more of a professional context or to a new friend, someone that you're meeting. You want to be able to share the high level, right? And this is tricky too. We're going to share like how much detail should you share when someone asks where you work, what you do at
Right.
work.
And there's some key vocabulary that are popular, common nowadays when you are talking about your position. Your role is a very common phrase I feel like I hear a lot. My role
Yes.
at X company is XYZ. I'm seeing that on LinkedIn everywhere nowadays. So, really important to know this vocabulary, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So today we're excited. You're going to meet our team members and learn how to introduce yourself in a professional way. We're actually answering a question that was sent in. Would you like to read that
Oh
for
my
us,
God, I would
Lindsay?
love to. This is from Mauro. Mauro says, 2026 is my 8th year listening to you guys. Oh my gosh, that is
Amazing.
so amazing.
I
It's
know. I
so
love it.
good. I just love it. It's an addiction, LOL.
Yes. That's a very healthy addiction to
Very
have.
healthy. Yeah, lots of benefits there. I think you should do an episode introducing the Allers English team. I mean, the guys in the back office. Best regards, Mauro. What a good question. And
It's such a great
yes.
question. I love it. It's like virtual back office, right? Since we don't have any brick and mortar, there is no
Yes.
official office, but
Yes.
yes.
You got it. You got it. And that's a really important thing. We value our team members. Many of our team members have been with us for a long time, and they're behind the scenes doing really important work. And I'm so excited to bring them to the forefront here today. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So guys, be sure to hit follow wherever you're listening. If you love our, connection, not perfection, if you believe that as well, then be sure to hit follow.
You got it. All right. So we need templates, right? So templates are always really good to lean on for vocabulary, for structure when it comes to introducing ourselves and our role at work.
Exactly, right? You have a template and then you just plug in the role, the company name. So we're going to go over some sort of buckets of things you might share when you introduce yourself. And the first one is just sharing what your role is.
Exactly. So you can say, my role at All Ears English is, right?
And then you fill that in with whatever company you work for. My role at company is blank.
Right.
Or I currently serve as, and then your position at company. So I'd say I currently serve as the community manager at All Ears English.
Yep. And I think this one sounds a little bit more elevated, a little bit more formal to me. So again, we're going to pick and choose our vocab depending on exactly who we're introducing ourselves to. All right.
Yes, and this might be for a bigger company, right? Companies that have lots of different teams and departments, this might be more, appropriate.
Sure. You could also say, I'm part of All Ears English's editing department where I work as a head editor. I'm just making this up off the top of my head here, Aubrey.
Exactly, right? I think of for my husband, it's a much bigger company,
Yes.
right? He would say, I'm part of Fountain's sales department where I work as a solutions consultant. So for bigger companies, right, this makes sense to share like the department in the company where you work.
Yeah. And, so depending on the size of the company, role and position and title might matter more in larger companies, right? So,
Or depending on who you're talking to, right? If you're at an industry conference and those people really do want to know like your actual role and the department and then they're interested.
Yes.
If you're meeting a neighbor and they ask where you work, you might not share the department. They don't care.
right. And the cool thing about small companies is if you feel like you don't have an official title, you can go to, you can try going to your boss and saying, hey, can I have a title? You know what I mean? You can do that because at small companies like our company, titles are not really as important as we're just here getting the work done, right? Creating results. But at big companies, it matters. And in your future career, it might matter. So you can have that conversation with your boss and you can construct your own title alongside your manager, which is really cool, right?
Yes, exactly. And then lastly, my position at and the company focuses on, and so here you're sharing sort of your area of responsibility, your area of expertise in a different way.
Nice. Love it. Okay. So that is stating your role. What would we do next in the template?
Yeah, talking about how long you've worked there, or tenure. You might say, I've been with company for time period. So for me, I've been with All Ears English for 6 years.
Nice. Perfect. Love it. Or you could say, I joined All Ears English 12 years ago. That applies to me when we first started the company, when I started it back in Boston in 2013. That's when I joined the company, is when I started it.
There you
I
go.
guess.
Exactly, right? So either of these would work for Lindsay. She would probably say, I started
Yeah.
All Ears English 12 years ago.
Exactly. Okay, then we describe our responsibilities just very briefly, right?
Yes, because that's really what's key. And it does depend on who you're talking to. You may depend, someone at volleyball very recently asked me about my job where I work. And it was interesting, this like, how much detail do I share?
Yeah.
And I didn't really share anything about responsibilities, but then she asked follow-up questions.
Okay.
She wanted to know more about what I do.
Nice.
So then I ended up using some of these.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a better idea to start with fewer words, right? Start with less and
Definitely.
then evoke that curiosity, maybe if they're interested, and then they can ask
If
more.
they really want to know,
Sure.
they'll probably ask a follow-up question, and then maybe you share this.
Exactly. So you can start, again, my responsibilities center around writing and education, maybe, for example, right?
Or I'm primarily responsible for, and for me, I would say helping in the community, responding to student activities, hosting student speaking meetups.
Yep. That sounds right. Aubrey, you serve as our community manager in a sense, right? You're helping students, answering questions, hosting our live speaking events. And what a cool place to be, really in the center of our students. So really good.
I know, it's very fun.
Yeah.
I really love it.
Good. And then we could also say my role involves, and here we're looking for a verb plus ing, a verb plus ing, and maybe another verb plus ing, right? So here we could say my
Exactly.
role involves making decisions, leading, and motivating the team, right?
There you go.
Something like
or I work closely with, and for me, I would likely say students, and podcast co-hosts. And then you could also add to, and then like the objective, right? To make sure
Yes.
all of our students are successful and reaching their English learning goals.
Wonderful. And then you can also, this part's maybe optional, right? If the person
Yes.
seems pulled in to what you're saying, we could reserve this as an optional one, right? So
Or if they ask, they're like,
Yeah.
what do you love about your job?
totally. So here we're highlighting what we enjoy. The most rewarding part of my job is seeing student results, right?
Yes, fill in the blank with the impact or the result, right? What you find the most meaningful, the most rewarding. Or another example, what I value most about this position is, and then you could fill that in with a challenge, something you are able to learn, an impact you are able to make.
Beautiful.
So I again would share there being able to see students succeed and reach their goals.
Yeah. So you'd say what I value most about this position is being able. So we're using that verb plus ing, really important piece there, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Okay, Aubrey, I am excited for our listeners to meet the All Ears English team. What do you think? Are you ready?
Yes, this is so fun. We are going to play a short audio clip from 3 of the All Ears English team members, Gaspar, Jandy, and Renee. They will introduce themselves, describe their roles at All Ears English using some of these phrases that we taught.
Beautiful. All right. So let's roll that clip, shall we?
Yes, yes.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gaspar. I have been with All Ears English as a podcast editor for 12 years already. My role here is editing all the podcast recordings. My main duties include cutting out the mistakes and enhancing the audio quality and many more. My favorite thing about my job is connecting to my team and helping each other like a second family. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jandy. I've been working with All Ears English for 5 years. I'm a virtual assistant and video editor. My main responsibility is editing and publishing YouTube videos of our podcasts, as well as supporting the team with several administrative tasks. My favorite thing about my job is the flexibility. It allows me to earn while staying fully present for my family.
Hi, my name is Renee. I've been with All Ears English for about 4 months. I'm the digital marketer here, and my role focuses mostly on bringing our courses, podcasts, and community to the right people at the right time. My favorite thing about my job is seeing how our content genuinely helps people feel more confident connecting in English.
All right. So, Aubrey, that was amazing to hear the voices of our team behind the scenes. I'm so glad we're able to bring everyone's voice forward on the show.
Absolutely. We are so grateful for all of their hard work and dedication. Without their behind the scenes work, it wouldn't be possible to bring you new episodes every day from 3 different podcasts.
It's truly amazing what we have going on here. We're so incredibly lucky to have them. And again, guys, be grateful to your team, right? If you're in a leadership position,
Absolutely.
thank them on a regular basis. Be grateful. And, the takeaway for today is introducing yourself matters, right? Whether we're at a networking event, a more on stage kind of situation, maybe at a conference, there's a lot of context in which variations of this template could be used. Okay.
Absolutely. And the level of detail you share matters. Likely everyone out there listening, Lindsay and I as well, have been in that conversation where you ask someone what they do and they share way too much detail, everything about their job and the position. And it's too much and it's not a back and forth. It can be a back and forth conversation. If the other person asks a follow-up question or genuinely seems interested, then you can share more. So that's part of this skill as well.
That's a really good point. At Open Conversation Club, one of our key rules every time is don't be a me monster. So it may be rare that you actually go through this whole template, step by step by step. You may say the first piece and then they ask a follow-up question and you work in these pieces, right? So this is not meant to be like a robotic, let me just talk for 60 seconds here. Right? Unless it is that situation where you are on stage. So this is flexible.
That would
today.
be different.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It depends on the situation. And often the best way this can work is if it's a back and forth where you just share, your role at the company and then ask them the same. They share and then they might ask you more details about your responsibilities or what you love about it. Then you ask them, right?
Yeah.
And it's a more interesting back and forth.
And also kind of a really cool thought to wrap up today is notice how you feel when you talk about what you do at work, right? I know for me, I still smile and people will sometimes comment like, you seem so excited about what you do, or you have so much energy. Like they can feel an energetic shift when I talk about our podcast. And that means that you're on the right track. Right. And so you can use this as like a benchmark of like, am I in the right career? Am I doing the right thing at the right time with the right company and the right people? So this is kind of like,
that's a good point. If you answer these questions and you're kind of like, I've been doing this forever.
Maybe it's time to look at a change, right? So
right. Exactly.
Question. Yeah. All right. Good stuff today, Aubrey. Thanks for being on the show. And thanks to our amazing team for contributing their clips. All right.
Yes. Awesome. Thanks, Lindsay. I'll see you next time.
All right. Bye.
Bye.